An exclusive interview directly from the heart of Israel, Yerushalayim, from my dear friend Keren Ginossar, next on One Nation. Hello, America. Welcome to One Nation. I'm your host, Dr. Jake Jacobs. This has been a week of infamy from the pit of hell, from Gehenna, when it comes to the Hamas attack on the nation, on the people of Israel. It started on Simchat Torah, the joy, the celebration of the reading of the Torah, the completion of the reading of the Torah within the year of Judaism. The terrorist Hamas, who calls for the annihilation, the destruction, the extermination of the people of Israel, invaded Israel and slaughtered literally hundreds and hundreds, up to possibly 1,000 Jews, wounding up to 3,000 Jews, capturing 22 Americans and taking hostage over 100 Jews, bringing them back to Gaza. Gaza, the land of Goliath. Gaza, the land of the Philistines. Gaza, the land of paganism, the god Dagon. If this isn't demonic, I don't know what is. Now, many years ago, I lived in Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. I lived in Yerushalayim, Jerusalem for a while, the beautiful city of Jerusalem, Zion. I also lived in Kibbutz Kinneret in the north. It's where the Jordan River connects with the Sea of Galilee, the Kinneret Lake in the land of Israel. And I experienced Israel in a beautiful, wonderful way. And ever since, I've been able to connect with many Israelis. I went there during the Intifada in 2002 and saw what the militant Muslims had done over and over and over again to Jewish people. It's absolutely deplorable and despicable. And a dear friend of mine by the name of Keren Ginossar, and please forgive my pronunciation, she has graciously said that she would be interviewed for my show tonight. She's coming with us live from Israel. She served in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, back in 2002, 2004. And she's an artist. She's a sales rep in Israel, in Jerusalem, and a beautiful artist. I've seen a lot of your works. And Erev Tov, Shalom, Keren.
Shalom, it's Keren Ginossar.
Keren Ginossar, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. Keren Ginossar. Okay, I have a question, by the way, related to Ginossar. I remember when I was, I would go where I lived in Kibbutz Kinneret. I would go to Tiberias, and then north of there was Kibbutz Ginossar, and then I still remember that the Ginozzaret. Please forgive my Ivrit, okay? Was Kinneret, was the Sea of Galilee. Is your name connected historically to the same places, to the same area?
This is a very good point. So Ginossar is actually the Hellenistic name for the Sea of Galilee, Kinneret, which was given by the Romans, but it actually it came from Polish, because my grandpa, his name was before the Holocaust, it was Heniek Goncio or something like this. And when he was a Holocaust survivor, and when he came to Israel, he took his Hebrew name, Tzvi Chanoch, and he made it Ginossar because he wanted a Hebrew name. He didn't want some Polish name. So it was changed. From a lot of Jewish people from Poland and other countries do that.
Okay. Now, all right. Now, so I wasn't too far off then. This is good to know. Now, so this is interesting. I know your mother was born in Yerushalayim. She told me she remembered the Six-Day War in June of 1967. So you actually, a lot of your roots actually go back to the Shoah, to the Holocaust. Your grandfather was experienced the Holocaust. Can you just give me a short little version of his story? Maybe it's your grandmother, or uncles, aunts. Could you give me a short little version of that story?
Yeah, of course. So I'll just say, like, for a second, that I'm half mostly Ashkenazi from my father's side, and my father's parents came from Poland, and they were Holocaust survivors. And from my mother's side, my grandma was a Holocaust survivor, but her family was in Jerusalem for many, many generations. And my mom was born in Jerusalem, as you know. But my grandpa, he was born in Poland, and he was born in Lodz, and Lodz, as a lot of people say. And basically, at the beginning, they were together. Him, his mom, his dad, and his brother. And then the last time he saw his mom was when she was shaved head with the uniform, the striped uniform. And then the journey began because they were very tall and they looked kind of Aryan. They were able to run away, and there was no selection that they were little boys because they were tall. So the Nazis thought that my grandpa and his brother are older, so they were able to run with their father, and saved many, many times in like miraculous ways. And yeah, and then eventually a Jewish couple killed my great grandpa, and my grandpa's brother was killed by typhus 2 weeks before the war ended. And my grandpa joined Etzel, fought for Israel with Etzel, which is one of the armies before Israel became a state, captured by the Brits.
Was this a branch of, were they a branch of Haganah or Irgun? Do you know offhand?
Yeah, it's a different one. Like there is Haganah, there is Palmach, and there is Etzel.
Okay.
And I think there is another one. But it was captured by the Brits. It was given only 5 years in jail, and it was not sentenced to death or anything, because the Jew, who was apparently Jewish, said, "I don't want this man to have a lawyer. I want to give him the sentence that he deserves." So he said, "You can't prove this man actually blew up the train." He was a commander in Etzel, my grandpa, and he gave him 5 years. And then the prime minister heard about his story and demanded that my grandpa would return to Israel, and he made a huge party for him. That was Begin, and then, my grandpa came here, and he was without anything. He just started from scratch.
Wait a minute. Did you say Menachem Begin? You didn't say Menachem Begin, did you?
Yeah, I'm not wrong. It wasn't Ben Gurion. It was Begin. Yeah,
Menachem Begin. I mean, that's a profound part of Jewish history. You could write a book on your grandfather. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
on your family.
Yes, and he is also in the books, my grandpa, in a very short paragraph of this army, of Etzel, but he was a commander, and he's in the books.
Well, I'm going to be looking it up and doing more research myself. Now, let me ask you this. And the last show I just did, I really had to fight back a lot of tears. As you may or may not know, I've taught Holocaust for almost 40 years now. When you're old, you can say those kind of things, 40 years. I taught it at the high school and college level. I brought in Holocaust survivors. One of them was Henry Goldie from Lodz, Poland. He was an amazing dear friend of mine, Rosa Katz, and many others. And they always talked about the sources of transportation. And we saw the Israeli ambassador of United Nations, talking about Hamas taking the Jewish children and mothers on trucks to Gaza. And it just ripped my heart. We showed the scene from Schindler's List where the children are being taken on the trucks to the extermination facilities. Can you give me a sense of what's going on in your heart right now? What's going on in Jerusalem? What's going on with the people of Israel as this is happening as we speak?
So, just, to start, what happened, what is going on and what happened right now is worse than what the Nazis done. And I'm telling you, as a third generation of Holocaust survivors, what happened here was worse than the Holocaust, was worse than anything that I can imagine. We are in our own country, and we are being attacked by this beasts. It's like when an animal like a lion goes and tries to devour, they do it because they want to eat. But they didn't want to eat. They were basically going with the most evil, vicious. That I don't even think the devil could do anything like this. I mean, I know it sounds funny because, you know, as a believer, you don't think, oh, the devil is the worst. But I think they're worse than the devil, and they're worse than the Nazis. I've been waking up with so much depression the past few days, and I'm privileged. I'm waking up in my safety. But there is people that have been raped, children beheaded. If you want, I can go on. I don't know who's watching. So
no, this is fine. No, that anything you want to say is free reign here right now. Yeah, when I went to Israel during the Intifada, I couldn't sleep many nights during all of it. When they remember at the pizza place, they had blown up a couple of pizza places. There was a Jewish wedding. They killed like 40 Jews, and I told my wife I had to go to Israel. I went to Kinneret. I went to Jerusalem. Last night, a couple of hours, I woke up. My wife could tell that I was incredibly disturbed, and here I am in America, in safety. I can't imagine what it would be like right now in Jerusalem. So tell me, we actually do have a friend right now who is over there touring Israel. She is stuck there right now, still trying to get out. What is the situation? I know they've called up what is about 300,000 reserves. The army will be over 500,000. I know they're stirring up in the north with Hezbollah and Syria. We know the Iranian Revolutionary Army is making some moves. What is, when you're getting with your friends, and if you're going to cafes, if they're open, I don't know if they are what are you saying to each other right now?
You know, it's not completely desolated, but I could not, stop thinking about the verses from the Bible that talk about the desolated land, that strangers are eating it, and because I think about the Hebrew translation, "Haaretz shomema," the land is desolated, and now it's like this, over there in the Gaza Strip and in Jerusalem, it's so empty. I mean, usually when you go on the train, we have this train that kind of taking you, it's like a shuttle or something like that. I mean, and it's always full and it's kind of empty. Things don't really open so much. I mean, it's hard to find a place to get something to eat. I mean, which that is a privilege for, in itself. And it's very, very devastating. A lot of people are in the army doing the reserve. A lot of people in America that are Israeli, they go, or America and other countries, they go back to Israel. And now the Jewish people, the Israeli people, our face is shown. Like the people really, they love their country. They want to come back. They want to serve, and they want to give. We don't want to give up. We want to give up. We don't want to give up. We want to give. We want to win. We want to win. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I can still remember my dear friend Aryeh, who was a tour guide in Jerusalem. I stayed at his home during the Intifada. He took me all around Jerusalem for my third time that I'd been there. I learned a lot about the anti-Semitism throughout Jewish history, going back throughout the thousands of years. Aryeh had come to my hometown of Appleton, Wisconsin, and we were actually having a margarita and some chips.
I can drink.
Well, good for you. I don't anymore, but I used to. And this was 2005 when Prime Minister Ariel Sharon gave up the Gaza and took out the settlements, took all the Jews out of Gaza. Now, we know biblically, historically, this is the land of the Philistines. This is the land of Goliath. This is the land that wasn't conquered by by Joshua. And King David, beat the Philistines there. It's incredible history, but it's also the land of Dagog, the god Dagog. How is it, Israel knowing the nature of the beast? Hamas 4 weeks ago now, on social media was actually announcing through this very creative social media thing that they put together, they were giving explicit, specific designs on how they were going to invade Israel and kill the Jews. How did, in your estimation, how do you think this got by the Israeli leadership, the Israeli military? The IDF is one of the most brilliant militaries, if not the, in the world.
Yeah, I don't know how I can even, try to express, because I don't want to, because I don't know everything. I cannot just go and blame, but I am a person that watches a lot of the news. I'm home. I'm not there, like, looking over the fence, and I saw it coming. I mean, a lot of people told me, really? Yes, I saw how they are kind of taking the fence, and it's like such a lame fence, And I was like, when would be the time that they'll just like cross over? That's not a problem, And there was some kind of a terror attack in this area, and they sent the soldiers, and the area was left without a lot of people. And you can go into conspiracies. I could go into conspiracies because
Right.
it's very easy. And I think that Hamas was organizing it for a long time. I don't know how the government and how the army didn't see. I think this is the army's job. I don't go and just blame the government right away, like everyone likes to do. I think the army should have thought better, because the heads of the army are not stupid. And I think that it was just like a gift from Hamas for the 50th anniversary for
Yom Kippur.
Atonement. I mean, I'm saying sarcastically, sarcastically. Yeah. My English is, it's on my mother tongue. So I basically see how they were planning it for a long time, and they were planning it for a long time. The Golda Meir movie went out, and I think this is like so interesting. You know what I mean? That the Golda Meir movie went out. This is the 50th year of Yom Kippur, and we get something worse than Yom Kippur, worse than the Holocaust. I mean, of course, the Holocaust is 6 million people. I don't want anyone to like write me afterwards and say, yeah, I'm a granddaughter of Holocaust survivors. I'm allowing myself to use it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think this is really bad. Yeah.
I understand. Look, this is fresh. This is now. And so I understand why you're saying this is worse than the Holocaust. I understand the emotional nature of why you would say that. It makes perfect sense. When I think of Hamas, when I was back to this story with my friend Aryeh from Jerusalem, and I warned him back then, I said, look, they're going to use it as a base in an attempt to destroy Eretz Israel, the people of Israel. And he said, no, Jake, we're a very optimistic people. We believe in shalom, salam. We're doing this because it will bring peace. And I said, if that was the case, why wasn't there peace in 1949 when there was a two-state partition plan? Why wasn't there peace when Israel, after the Six-Day War, gave back the Judea, Samaria, what we call the West Bank, when they gave back Gaza? There hasn't been peace because ultimately Hamas, Hezbollah, the fanatical jihadi, they don't want shalom, salam with the Jews, with Israel. They want the eradication, the annihilation of Israel. Am I not correct in saying this?
You are correct. And I'm not going to be politically correct because I don't care at all about that. And I say what I heard a lot of army heads saying, army officials say, it's the time to completely destroy Gaza. I don't care which God was there 3,000 years ago. I think this is the time to make Gaza flat. I don't care. I mean, I know it sounds really like crazy, but I don't care right now about the Gazans. I mean, I should care probably because they're human beings and I should love every human. But right now, I don't care. Right now, I think they messed up with my people. They killed the women, the old people, the children. They raped women. They beheaded babies. They took brothers and sisters and tied them together and abused them. And they took couples and tied them together and abused them. They raped women and burned them alive. So for me, I don't care right now. They brought it on themselves. yeah, of course, there is some kind of a baby and some kind of a woman there that is probably like, oh, they're so innocent. The baby, I don't want to say what the baby is going to be. I don't want to say who gave birth to this man and didn't teach him how to not be a terrorist. Why are they going to be terrorists? Why are they doing it? And why do I have to feel bad if I'm going to say honestly, I cannot say just wipe out Gaza. Yes, I want to make Gaza flat. I want justice, and I want my people to stop struggle. Don't cut this off, because I think people should hear. I'm being honest. I think this is the time to be done with it for once and for all.
Keren, Toda, thank you for being so brutally honest. It's exactly how we feel here at Freedom Project Media. You know my heart. I've felt this way for many years. When the IDF had these operations, Operation this and Operation that, it was always, a lot of times, it was surgical and it did little damage, but it never finished Hamas. It always gave them a new life, a new birth. And this is the part you had, 2005, 2008, 2014, just last year, just this year, they had operations. Israeli soldiers would go in and die, maybe 15, 20, 40 soldiers. Now we're up to almost 1,000 dead Jews, over 100 that are kidnapped, 3,000 that have been seriously wounded. This is incredible angst upon the people of Israel. Now is not the time for political maneuvering. Now's the time for military power, just like Dwight Eisenhower finished off the National Socialists, the Nazis. We want a National Socialist to be finished. We want Hamas to be finished. Is that correct?
Yes. And you know what is the worst? And I really want my voice to be heard right now. When they're Christians, I don't care if they are what denominations they are. If they are Christians from America that are like people that are Lutheran, Catholics, I don't know, Messianic Jews that gone astray. I don't care. I mean, if you are a Christian, you have to realize that Jesus was a Jew. Yeshua was a Jewish guy. And he wasn't serving in the army back then because it was a Roman army. If he was living in Israel today, he would have served in the IDF because he was a Jewish guy. He was a Jewish man. And I don't understand when people are even not just Christians. Like, are you a human being that you are like supporting Hamas? I mean, and by the way, Hamas, it's ISIS, Iran. It's all coming from Iran. It's coming from over there. And they're sitting by our border. And I don't understand how there still can be people that blame Israel, think that we are like overreacting, that we deserve it. We have been fighting this for years upon years. And whoever decided that we're going to stay here is the UN. We were, after the Holocaust, we had no home. We had Madagascar, we had Argentina. And we were put here. And thank God we were put here, because this is our land. And this is our land for thousands of years. And if people are Christians, they should read their Bible, who this land belonged to. And this is the same people. I mean, I made a DNA test. This is the same people,
You're profoundly spoken. I mean, this is something I have had to, as I've taught and as I've given speeches, to remind my Christian friends that Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus, was the Messiah. He was the Mashiach, the Christ of Israel. He was the God of Israel. He on the crucifix, it said he was the king of the Yahudim, Melech Yahudim. He was the king of the Jews. And he was a rabbi. His mother, Miriam, was Jewish. His father, Yosef, was Jewish. His brothers and sisters were Jewish. The apostles were Jewish. This is a Jewish context. And it's interesting because in Psalm 83, verse 4, it talks about how the enemies of Yahweh, enemies of Hashem, they not only hate God, but they want to destroy the people of Israel so that the name of Israel shall be no more. And they mention Gaza, Philistia. They mention all the various pagan areas that were always fighting with the people of Israel. And that is what's the very bottom root of this. You mentioned, you were describing, and I know you were keeping some of it, sanitized. It is something that is diabolical. It reminds me of Dante's circle, in the very inner circle of his Inferno. that this is the nature of the enemy. And if people study Islam historically, when Muhammad raped and pillaged Jewish women, Jewish people, and he called for a jihad from the very inception of Islam, and they slaughtered Jews in Jerusalem, Damascus, and in Cairo, and all throughout North Africa, going up into Spain, going up into France, and they were stopped at the Battle of Tours. There has been 1,400 years of this manifestation of this jihad mindset that in essence wants to eradicate, annihilate the Jews, and subjugate the rest of the world under Islam. It's not a coincidence when those militant monster Muslims attacked America on 9/11, they yelled out Allahu Akbar. And it's the same thing when you watch the videos of Hamas. It's the same words. In the streets of Philadelphia, New York, America, just yesterday and the day before, there were Palestinians, there were a significant number of what I call wokocrats and left-wing fanatics who were crying out from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. Ilhan Omar, Rashid Tlaib, Democrats within the House of Representatives that were doing this and believing this monstrosity. American universities rallying for Palestine, not for Israel. As we get ready to wrap up, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about what I said and what's next for Israel?
First of all, I'm just going to say that Islam and Judaism and Christianity are not in the same boat for those who are unaware or uneducated about it, because a lot of Israelis especially think that Islam is closer to Judaism because there is no the three in one and Jesus being a son of God and all that. I have news for whoever is watching. Islam is coming from the religion, from a pagan religion, which is the god of the moon, and it has nothing to do with God. Allah is not God. Okay, this is not the same God that the Jewish people and the Christians are worship. Okay, and Islam and Muhammad. First of all, if you are aware of anything, he was a pedophile, okay? I know some people are going to hate me for that. I don't care. No. He married a 6-year-old girl, a 9-year-old girl, okay? This is not a normal thing that you can even imagine. Yeah, maybe you can say, oh, this is a different time, blah, 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 but this is not it. And I really believe that the people that are still standing up for Palestine, because there is no such country called Palestine, by the way. This is a made-up name by the Romans to mock Israel, and it was still used afterwards. And hello, there is no Palestinian currency. There is no prime minister of Palestine, and they don't have an ID. So there is no such country and no such people, Palestinians.
Keren, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Slicha.
Yeah, so I think that people should really be aware if they're going to demonstrate for Palestine, they should at least know that there is no such country and there is no such people, and they are supporting the root of paganism and evil. If you like paganism, then maybe you should choose a different kind of paganism. If you really like paganism, I mean, maybe Norse paganism is very interesting, or maybe Greek paganism is a little bit more, interesting, but why going to this kind of paganism? Go demonstrate for babies, go demonstrate for women's trafficking, go do something good. I mean, these people are murderers, and they are working with ISIS and Iran. So if people really love murder and they really like rape, then they are psychopaths. And if they go and they demonstrate for Palestine, then this is maybe the thing for them. But if they really should calm down and realize what they're demonstrating for. And I am Israeli. I'm not American. I'm not politically correct, and I don't have this mechanism of okay, or maybe I should think about not saying that. And I just want to say one thing, because you said we're going to finish soon, that the terrorists, they are asking to be hospitalized in our hospitals right now. I mean, the Palestinian terrorists from Gaza that raped and murdered and beheaded babies and killed old elderly women, they asked to be hospitalized in the same rooms with Jewish people. They want to take beds. This is absolutely it's crazy. We don't want to give them, treatment. We don't want to help them. They killed us right now. They raped us. and they kill their baby.
You know, we were discussing what's happening. This reflects what's happening in American universities. The Marxists, the socialists, the anti-Christian, the anti-Judeo-Christian professors are teaching this evil crap to the students. Thus, the demonstrations in New York. They were calling for jihad and Allahu Akbar in Times Square in New York City 2 days ago. Philadelphia, Harvard University, University of Florida, all this crap. And then in the meantime, this bizarre juxtaposition of these jihadi, these Muslim monsters, calling for the Jews to actually hospitalize them and save them as they are ready to slit your throats and rape Jewish women and cut off the heads of babies. This is a bizarre, demonic world that people lack a vocabulary to describe it. And I, by the way, I appreciate your frankness, your transparency, your political incorrectness, because the truth, veritas emet, is much more important than the lies that are being disseminated around the world. And you and I both know, once the IDF goes into Gaza, and Hamas will be hiding in hospitals, in schools, in homes, and there's going to be, unfortunately, there's going to be Palestinian kids that are going to die, they're going to be killed. The media will portray Israel as genocidal. And in the meantime, Israel must remain kasach ve'amatz. They must remain strong in the face of this enemy, and they must obliterate the enemy. Would you not concur?
I completely agree. I want to see any other country, America, for example, if it would be attacked from the border, I guess you have Russia also, right? Or I don't know. I don't want to say something there that is not correct. But if you're going to be attacked, aren't you going to fight for your people? Or if Russia is going to attack any other European country, then are we going to be sad? And are we going to be and I want to say something that is very, very crucial. The hatred against the Jewish people that has been there for thousands and thousands of years is actually enmity and hatred against God.
Yep.
So if people have an issue with the Jewish people, even if you're Christians, you are having an issue with God, because God was very, very clear about the Jewish people. And I really, really want to encourage whoever is watching to really get your information from a real resource that is not a lie, that would give you the right information about what is going on here. And the time is going to come that we're going to attack. And you don't have to choose a side. Just see for yourself that we have a right to defend ourselves. We have a right to defend our country, to defend our people. It was very, very sad. And I'm so depressed, and you have no idea what's going on inside of me watching my people being slaughtered and kidnapped. It's 1,200 people murdered, over 150 kidnapped. I think it's close to 3,000 that are wounded, and we still have our soldiers. They're fighting, and these soldiers are boyfriends and husbands and brothers of friends of mine and people that I also know. And I want to encourage you to stand with Israel, because when you stand with Israel, you actually are standing for the truth. You are standing with God. We are not perfect, but neither are you, and neither am I. None of us is perfect. Your countries are not perfect. But we, the Jewish people, we've been suffered for so many years. We have a country. It's our right to have a country. And we ask you to see that. We ask you, if you don't want to see that, I don't care. I still see what I am. I have a right to live. I have a right to survive. Not just this Palestinian woman in Gaza that sent her husband to kill me, So please see for yourself. Stand with Israel. Pray for us. Advocate for us, because you're not just advocating for us. You are going to advocate for yourself, because America needs us. Canada needs us. You need us also more than we even need you, because we are here in the Middle East. We are in this, at the front.
Well, the Torah does say,
us, you're going to be with Iran, against Iran.
God forbid. The Torah does say, I will bless those that bless thee, and I will curse those that curse thee. And you need to know that there are millions and millions of Americans who love the people of Israel, and cry out, Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. You must know that. You must believe that. You're in our prayers, but beyond that, in our actions. This is a part of our actions. This will go out to tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands across America. Freedom Project Media is dedicated to the truth and dedicated to supporting Israel. We just did 3 shows on this topic in the last 2 hours. Trust me. And by the way, your English is very good. Your brain, your thinking is brilliant. I wish we had more time because I could tell you have volumes of knowledge of Jewish historia, of Yeshua, of anti-Semitism that would just enlighten our people. Is it possible we could bring you back sometime in the next few weeks?
I would love to talk about even how I found Yeshua, Jesus, and tell
Wonderful.
you all about it. And yeah, I have to say, my mother just passed away, and I don't know if it's good for the broadcasting, but like you knew her, and when you were young children, and it's because of her I have this English, and
I can tell, and you have much more than that. So
thank you.
Until we meet again. May God bless you. Keren, I really, toda rabah, thank you so much for sharing with us. And know that we're with you in the midst of all this. And may the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob be with you throughout the days, the weeks, and the months ahead. Shalom, shalom.